Hello and welcome to Creating Canon with your hosts AJ Hamilton and Nicholas Key Pleasurous.
Nicholas. I quit. It's never gonna get better than that.
No. This should be framed.
Seriously,
this one.
You're turning kind of red, actually. Are you embarrassed by Nicholas?
No, not at all.
You
It's
look
hot
a
in
little
here.
red. Oh, is that what it... Well, and we
very
watched
hot.
this movie.
Oh,
Which
got me a little hot.
Yeah.
Under the collar,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
It is getting hot in here. That's why I have taken off my shoes.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I should take off my shoes, too. That's where 90% of your body heat comes
goes.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? No?
Yeah.
It's not the head?
Nicholas C. Pappas!
And Nicholas C. Pappas. Nicholas.
You are really enjoying that. You are like a little schoolboy.
Listen, it was a stroke of genius.
Yes, it
stroke
was,
of
it
something.
Was pretty good. It was
Yeah.
stroking something.
Stroking it.
When you watch Nana, the Key of Pleasure.
Yeah, the true key of pleasure.
Oh, did I forget the word true?
Nah.
Well, I mean, look.
Is it true? It's actually loosely based on a novel, which is not even a true story, which is embellished.
Yes. Also, loosely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
No, what? Are you going for the pun?
I guess.
Oh,
Were
boy.
they?
I don't know. Yeah, I did like it was Nana, the True Key of Pleasure, loosely based on the novel by Emile Zola. Wow.
Wow, man.
Wow. Which, something about Zola. Should we talk about Zola now or should we talk about Zola later? Because I think there is a key to Emile Zola that will unlock everything about this movie.
Is it also the true key of pleasure? Are
Yes.
they interchangeable?
Yeah, that's what unlocks it.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, let's talk about him before we talk about the actual movie, because he is the writer of the book,
Sure.
and that's the source material. So
Yeah.
let's go with him.
Well, do you want to do the plot first? Should we start with the
No,
plot? Okay, Zola?
let's do book.
Okay.
Then we're getting into the movie.
So here's the thing about Emile Zola.
Yeah.
Emile Zola is the father of what is known in the theater world and perhaps the rest of the world, but specifically in theater, of a movement called Naturalism.
Okay.
The difference between naturalism and realism, I think realism is something that we all see all the time, right?
Yeah,
Realism is the whole, like, the curtain opens, there's a couch on the stage, and it's like, oh my god, that's somebody's living room, and that's a family. Ibsen was the father of realism.
Okay.
Our television shows and movies are all steeped in realism.
Okay.
The thing about realism is that they are trying to capture reality as best they can.
Yeah.
But there's often still some sort of plot device around it where things are mechanical, right? There's a setup at the beginning that gets paid off at the end. So there is an artifice
It's
to realism.
contrivance. Okay.
Yeah. So there's an artifice to realism.
So naturalism essentially would be like a documentary. Or not even a documentary, just like a
slice of life.
A camera on life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
okay.
even in a documentary, that follows...
They're telling a story.
That follows the rules of realism, right? Where... So naturalism, it's completely... Things happen. There is no rhyme or reason.
Right.
There is no lesson to learn.
Almost voyeuristic.
It's voyeuristic, and it's supposed to be just like life. Because when you start going... If you think about your real life, sometimes things happen and they're not foreshadowed,
right.
And things happen and there's no real rhyme or reason or purpose to what happens at the end of your life, and the end of your life isn't affected by the beginning of your life in any true way that it would in like a novel.
Right. It's not like Ringo Starr seeing a drum kit in a window when he's very young and being like, I really want to play that eventually, and then they're like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Eventually he would become that. Sure.
Nice reference to a Patton.
Oh, I know.
Oswalt.
I know it wasn't Ringo either.
Yeah, no, I was really appreciative of that.
I'm glad.
Yeah, and naturalism, Emile Zola wanted to do away with all that. He thought that artifice was bullshit. And even though it mimicked real life, it wasn't real life. And what he wanted to do is capture real life as much as possible.
Interesting.
So this movie, in many ways, I think is frustrating because it feels sort of meandering.
Well,
nothing adds up. there is no payoff and nothing matters.
It's almost like it's not quite realism and it's not quite naturalism. So it falls somewhere in between that, and by middling in between those two genres, it loses itself. There's almost no point.
Well, have you ever read or seen a naturalism play? Have you ever?
Not that I knew was one.
You would know because they're very frustrating.
Okay.
Because you're watching and you're like, oh, okay, that line must mean
Does
something.
David Lynch make a lot of naturalism?
No.
I'm kidding.
That's surrealism.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Because I've been frustrated with David Lynch.
Yeah, well.
But for completely different reasons. Yes.
Yeah. That's something completely different.
No, I know.
No, I don't. I can't even think of a really good piece of naturalism that is like film or TV. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe some of like the... Perhaps Kess, which is a Ken Loach film from 1969, has a bit of that naturalism to it where things sort of happen and there is not a lot of rhyme or reason. And I guess, actually, now that I think about it, someone could make an argument that The Deer Hunter has a bit of naturalism as well, especially if you think of like that big wedding banquet scene that lasts like an hour and a half. It feels like it doesn't have a ton of payoff. And even some of the, like, going back to get walk-in and the Russian roulette stuff, it doesn't pay off in the same way.
It's not so thematic.
Yeah, I could be wrong about that.
Well, yeah.
But,
I also there's a couple other movies. Gummo. Did you ever see Gummo? 1997.
Harmy Korine, who did Spring Breakers, and what was the one? The Beach Bum Moondog. With,
yes, exactly. I feel like he enjoys having less stakes. He also did Kids, which also feels very naturalistic. Naturalism, where it's more their life in a day rather than having an arc to it.
I hate to say this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of embarrassed because I feel like I'm going to lose some street cred. I've never actually seen Kids.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, it's a rough movie. It's okay. If you've seen Requiem for a Dream.
Oof.
And that's hard. That was hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
All the way through. It makes you feel physically sick.
Yeah.
Well, Kids is almost it will viscerally hit you as well.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Fun story about Requiem for a Dream. It's one of those movies where I've seen it and I really love it because I think it's just really well put together. I think Ellen Burstyn probably gives the perhaps best performance ever captured on film.
Beautiful.
And I'd seen it once about 10 years later when I was living in San Francisco, when we were in San Francisco together.
Right.
My then girlfriend was like, "What are you going to do today?" And she was like going to class or something. I was like, you know what? I've been really wanting to watch Requiem for a Dream again. I feel like I'm emotionally ready. I feel like it's a thing I can watch. Cut to about 3 hours later, she came home from class.
Yeah.
The room is dark. The DVD is just playing the menu. And I was like...
in a fetal position.
And she was like, "How long have you been here?" And I was like, "I think like an hour." And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I wasn't ready."
Oh, Jesus.
And then she was like, "Oh," and like had to like comfort me for like an hour.
Oh my God.
I was devastated.
It's a rough movie. But, we're not talking about Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, we know what we are talking about.
Or any of these other ones.
Nana, the true key of pleasure.
Definitely not padding the runtime because there's nothing to talk about in this movie.
Well, it's naturalism, right? Like...
I guess, man.
Nothing adds up to nothing.
Okay, so
do you want the
let's go into this.
Okay, here's the plot. Ready?
I guess.
Don't stick your willy in your nana; it will ruin your life.
Oh, such an accurate and concise story.
Yeah. Also, do you know a lot of people call their grandmothers Nana?
Yeah, no, I do. That's multi-layered. That sentence was multi-layered. I liked it.
Edible?
Yeah.
Yep.
And edible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this...
So the movie starts, fucking duck, man.
All right, Nana is this young girl played by...
Katja Berger.
Sure. Katja Berger.
Sure. Whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't care.
And she starts out in a bordello, a local bordello.
Yeah,
and it's
called the Minotaur. Right?
Minotaur?
Oh, yeah, because they were pronounced Minotaur.
Yeah.
But it's
the Minotaur. And this was a funny thing. The Minotaur, whatever, the woman, the mother of the family, the Countess Moffat, she says, "Oh, it's one of those things off the Champs-Élysées." And I looked up what bordello it was based on, which was supposed to be Théâtre Variété, something like that. And it is nowhere near the Champs-Élysées.
Nice.
It's a fucking lie. It's in Montmartre. It's, I don't know. This seemed like a very, like it says, loosely based on the book. This felt slapped together. Didn't it?
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, like, honestly...
Some of the sets are beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. But, like, if we were to talk about plotline, which, if you don't mind, I'm just going to throw out, like... Because I think I can encapsulate the entire plot in about 10 sentences, which is...
I think you already did with the sticking your willy and the Nana, but contextualize that.
Yeah, so it starts off with this man named Steiner and Fashiri going to the brothel, the Minotaur, and they run into this boy named Hector.
Sure.
Georges Méliès happens to be there, who...
It was one of the fathers of cinema.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, he basically invented science fiction as we know it when it comes to film, right?
Interesting. Okay. And he shows one of his films that night, which was...
a porno.
Hilarious, because it's a porno, but it's also projected. It's supposed to be projected, because this takes place in the 1860s, 1870s, let's say. Although the book it's based on was 1880. It was based in, like, 1867. So he's using a projector that is powered with candlelight.
Yep.
And yet it is the most beautifully 80s projection, like a clear
1980s projection.
1980s projection. It's hilarious.
Yeah, honestly, and one of the things we forgot to mention is before that projection happens, we've probably seen low-key
a dozen,
30 boobs.
Okay, yeah, a couple.
And
of
I'm
dozen.
not talking, and that's like total boobs, not like sets of boobs.
That's where, got it,
like,
got it.
Low key 30 boobs, and then we meet Nana, who is the actress in this film. Everybody instantly falls in love with Nana.
They fall in love with her. They're like, she's not a great actress, but she's
a
there's something
actress
about her.
Oh, right. One of the things that I liked was the owner of the club was like, "Get ready for the dance of the erotic ostrich."
Oh, God.
And we didn't get to see it, which bummed me out, because that sounded awesome.
Yeah.
And that whole club that they were in sort of looked like... It didn't look lived in. It looked like a set that you would find in Disneyland.
Well, it kind of
boobs.
looks... Yes. Yeah. So, Disney After Dark.
Yeah, it's not going to be Disney Plus. It's like on Disney Plus, but like it's Disney Plus.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's like you have to Disney Plus behind the curtain. Oh boy.
Yes,
there was this really interesting moment where I did say to AJ, "This is weird that it's just a bunch of men in a room watching porn together."
Yeah.
And then I had this realization that basically what was happening is AJ and I were sitting in a room watching softcore porn together. And I thought, maybe I shouldn't judge too hard.
We were watching men watch softcore porn, and therefore, yeah.
There was a moment. There was a real, like, this is...
It's a snake eating its tail,
an
sort of thing. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. Also, most people, except for a few characters, this is all supposed to take place in Paris.
Yes.
Most people are British, or speak in British accents.
I mean, constantly throughout the movie, the words that were spoken by characters didn't even match mouth movements.
No.
To the point where there were a couple of scenes where characters just had their mouths closed, yet their character was talking non-stop.
Yeah, the opening part.
Yeah, the opening part.
The guy who runs the bordello, who's welcoming the characters in, he's just sort of gesturing to them, not saying anything.
And it happens later in the movie, too, a couple of times.
Yeah.
I wonder, so this movie was shot in Italy, and we've talked about this before on the podcast a couple of times, like with Bridge to Hell and The Lady in Red Kill 7 Times, where the way they would film movies was every actor spoke their native language, and then they dubbed everything.
Yeah.
One of the things I recognized, it was very clear that every actor was speaking English.
Oh, yeah.
Yet, obviously, every single scene was dubbed.
Yes. Is it because they don't like carrying around a boom mic?
I was actually going to say that maybe in Italian filmmaking of the time, they actually just didn't use boom mics.
Well, the 1880s, can you imagine how big the boom mics would have to be?
1880s?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's when they shot this, right?
Yes, it was a period piece. That wasn't period at the time. It was contemporary. We think of it as period now.
Actually, did we mention what year this actually came out? 1983?
Oh, yeah, it came out in 1983.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was odd. Maybe it's because the actors were not good.
Oh, I guarantee most of them were that way.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
But what ends up happening is Steiner, who's a banker, basically says about Nana to the guy who runs the place, I want her. I must have her.
Yes.
She's so beautiful.
Yeah.
She's so young. And
all of them, everybody except for Hector is conservatively 50.
Yeah,
at least.
Hector's about within her age bracket. Like,
yeah, probably 20s, early 20s. Maybe.
Yeah, so that one wouldn't be too weird because Nana looks like she's probably
17,
if that.
Yeah,
and the actress when they shot this movie, we did the math, was I'm guessing had just turned 18 or was like borderline 17.
Well,
shot
Italy.
in Rome. I was gonna say, I wonder what the shooting is like there.
Yeah,
because she is nude a lot. In fact, that was one of the things that was actually shocking in this movie was not only the overall amount of female nudity as far as like topless breasts, which there was a lot.
Every woman was shown, at least without their top on.
Yeah, and again, conservatively, there was probably 40 nude women in this movie. Topless women.
Nothing about this is conservative.
That's true.
Come on.
But there were several women, including Nana, who was full frontal nudity.
Yes.
And, like, there was... I don't know how to phrase this right, but, like...
Might have been a little penetration.
Well, yeah, there's a few shots where there might have been a little bit of penetration that you don't actually see, but, like...
Yeah.
Like, sometimes the women would be standing, and it would be like, oh, that's labia. That is vagina. That is not a merkin. That is actual vagina. It's not just the front.
And it was 80s bush.
Yeah, well,
Holy.
I mean, they had to have the merkin.
Of course.
And that one, I actually wrote down, that is a deep merkin. Because that merkin went, like, straight up and around, like... You know, like those thongs that sumo wrestlers wear? Like, it came down up and around, and I'm pretty sure it, like, covered up her anus as well. Like, and it was weird because when going back to Steiner, who's like, oh, she's so young, I must have her. The guy who runs the club is like, she's not one of my girls. And he was like, I'll give you $500. I mean, I'm just cutting to the chase here.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, have at her.
Yeah.
Pay her as well.
Yep.
Which was gross because... At this point, and there's a couple of points already where some of the women did not look comfortable, but she's now been set up to be pseudo-raped.
Yes, but she's working in a bordello,
Sure.
So I perceived that as much as she didn't care for it, this was transactional and she expected it. I don't know. I don't know what her experience was. Was it her first day or something?
Well, that was the thing. Well, they said this was her first time ever. Oh, it's her first show.
Well,
so that was the thing that was unclear to me is I had read it that she was a first-time actress.
Yeah.
Coming out here and having this moment.
Well, I didn't know whether or not she had such a dead face that I couldn't tell what she was feeling in any of the scenes.
Yeah,
so I don't know if she was uncomfortable or resistant or anything like that.
It was weird. And, like, not only that, like, the music and image do not match up. Because, like, in like, pseudo-rape, she doesn't look like she's definitely not enjoying herself.
No.
Whether or not it's transactional or rape.
Yeah.
She's not enjoying herself. And there is this really weird, like... Well,
that also is going. That also is going during the peeping time, right before he buys her or whatever.
Right. Oh, that's right. There's the peeping. There's like a
they're
weird,
like,
uncomfortable.
I can't give her to you, but we can look at her.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Behind these paintings, there's just like holes in the wall.
And she's
just running around naked with a bunny, which was also weird. But The weird thing about the music of this movie, it was Ennio Morricone.
Okay.
Who has over 500 composing credits.
Wow.
Won the Oscar for The Hateful Eight. Did Bugsy, The
God.
Untouchables, Once Upon a Time in America, the classic score for The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Wow.
Like, he is perhaps more influential for the music scoring than John Williams.
Damn.
Like, I
just not as well known. Sadly.
Actually, I think he is.
You think?
Well, depending on
household name,
culture. Yeah, because I think John Williams has got the nerd culture on lock.
Oh,
like
totally.
the Star Wars nerd, and the Indiana Jones nerd. He's got that.
Yes.
Ennio has the cinema nerd on lock. Like
cinema nerd.
If you're a movie fan, you know who he is, and you sort of like revel at his feet. In fact, Quentin Tarantino went out of his way to like basically beg to have him do the score for The Hateful Eight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it was a big get for him.
That's
they did not get along making the movie, from what I read afterwards.
Yeah.
Ennio did not have some nice things to say about Quentin.
That's a shame.
Yeah, but that's the whole of the story.
Oh, of course. But he clearly was... I feel like he was scoring this blindfolded.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing what happened is... Well, tonally, this movie is sort of all over the map.
It
right?
is.
Where
it is.
There are moments of, like, horrible tragedy followed up with these really silly, funny, like, high comedy, high concept, crazy comedy bits.
And I think in a better movie, I think you have more development of this Nana character.
Yes.
I think you have more look into her psyche, other than the fact that I think... Who is it that says the great line that sort of called back to Gas Pump Girls that I was talking to you about?
Well, before that, I'm sorry, I just want to back up for like a half a second, because I think my favorite shot in the movie was when Steiner finally caught Nana, like threw her on the bed, dropped his pants, and started having sex with her.
That was your favorite shot?
No. My favorite shot was she sort of looks over the table where he set down a bunch of bills.
Oh, and one of them falls off the table. One of them falls
to the ground, and she watches it fall. And I got the impression in that moment that all that mattered to her
was the money.
And the wealth. And that was the only thing to me that I think brought us into her psyche.
Well, exactly, and that is undercut by what I was just talking about, by the woman who is watching out for her, the maid type
her,
of assistant person who
and
says,
"Oh, do you want to say it?
Go ahead."
It's basically she says, because this is the morning after with Steiner, because Steiner only left her $200, and the maid was like, $200? That's all you got,
right?
Which is also,
I'm sure the other guy got double that for you.
By the way, this also is what led me to believe this was Nana's first time.
Okay.
Because she had to, like, teach her the ways of
Yep.
getting money. And I love this line. I agree with you. The woman says, if a man wants you, make him pay.
Make him pay.
Make him give you jewels. Make you give him money. Make you give him your house. Make him give you his soul.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start thinking about what happens in the rest of the movie, that's what she does.
That's exactly what happens. And
she gets jewels, house, money, soul.
Yeah.
Basically.
And again, in a better movie, we see more development. We see the machinations behind what she is doing.
Yes.
I mean, I just felt that she was so fresh-faced and so just wide-eyed innocent.
At the beginning?
At the beginning, but also during the whole thing, the actress herself, yes, I know her actions are sort of nefarious.
Right.
But I never got from the actress, from her face, from anything, that she was like, oh man, I really pulled one over on this guy.
Because I thought that was like all those weird close-ups that they kept doing that were not flat. Like, this was really unfortunate because they kept like she was a fairly, like, not to like go down this road, but like she's a fairly attractive girl.
Sure.
But every time the men would be like, ugh, she's the most beautiful thing, they would like cut this close up of her face.
Yeah.
That was not
flattering. Sure.
But I think part of what it made it not flattering was it was a face of like, to me, she looked like she was trying to make a face of like, I know what's going on, and I'm manipulating
well, and that's the point, is she was trying to.
Right.
Like, it did not read at any time as a Sharon Stone from Basic Instinct. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't conniving. She wasn't, like, playing these guys. I mean, I know that she was.
That's the thing.
with her voice, with her lines and everything like that, it just didn't come across in her. I mean, she was clearly dubbed by someone else.
I think you're right. But I think that's the thing, though, is that she was manipulating.
Oh, yeah.
She just wasn't a talented enough actress to do it.
Absolutely. Because the story doesn't match her performance. That's what I'm saying.
I would actually, I'm so sorry to, I'm splitting hairs here, but, her performance doesn't match the story. Because she went... I'm sorry, I know that sounds...
Sorry I didn't say it in the right order.
Well, no. I guess what I'm getting at, though, is, I think a more talented actress could have done more with the same exact script.
Yeah, that's...
Because I do think she went from 0 to 60 in manipulation. It happened in, the blink of an eye. She got that advice, and she was like... Oh, is that what I do? Mm-hmm. Boom. Now I got a house. Now I have everything I want.
Oh, yeah. I just think that it would have been more interesting also to see her realize the effect that she had on multiple men. Not just realize from the one guy, from Steiner wanting to be with her, realizing, oh, shit, I'm an attractive person and I can manipulate all the people. She just immediately had that superpower.
I see.
You know what I mean?
I see. So what you're saying...
I think if she had played games with people and realized, oh, they're just doing whatever I want.
Well, I think she does do that, but later.
Yeah.
Well, because there's that scene where... So first of all, we have that moment, and then she wants to have the big party at her house. Yeah. So Steiner buys her a house, so we could keep her as basically like a sex slave.
Yeah.
Steiner owns the bank, that should be noted.
Right, and it's also the house that he gives her is also right next to the young man Hector's and his parents' house.
The Count Muffant.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Count Muffant, there's a moment earlier in the script where he sort of sees Nana and was like, oh my god, I see why Hector wants to go to the brothel. Yeah. Damn, son.
Wait, and now she's our neighbor? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, every single man reacts the exact same way to her. So it's not as if she has to figure out how to play men differently. It's not like... I mean, she eventually does, yes. Well, with Count Muffant, she almost shames him.
She doesn't shame him. She straight up is like... Well, this comes later, so I just wanted to talk about the fox hunt moment.
Oh, sure.
So, because Steiner is like, you can't have a party, there is no money. And she's like, I'm having a party anyways.
And she takes his money.
And then there's this really weird fox hunt thing where it's like a bunch of men riding out on a fox hunt, and you think they're going to go after foxes, and what it turns out is it's just like naked women running through the forest. The men eventually catch up to them. Yeah. This is where we thought, oh my god, is that real penetrative sex? Because that is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it.
And that scene went on forever.
Yeah. Oh, and that was the time when everybody is observing it. Yes. As in a fox hunt, they would be. And they're using... This was the weirdest part, because the production value of this is not poor. I mean, they have very nice houses and everything like that, but they are viewing them through what look like paper towel rolls that are painted gold. Yeah. It was very odd.
It looked weird. One of the things I actually really did appreciate, well, if this was makeup, it was great attention to detail. If it was not makeup, it makes me really sad. But all of the actresses who were running through the woods had all these cuts and scrapes on their legs. From the woods. So if that was makeup, it's great attention to detail. If it's not,
I hope it was.
That makes me sad.
Yeah.
Adrian and I talked about, because that sex scene went on for 10 minutes.
Yeah, with everyone just cutting back to all the different people looking at it.
Yeah.
And again, you're absolutely right with the naturalistic thing. There's not really points to these scenes.
Yeah.
It doesn't add to character other than the fact that yes, she's had this done.
Yeah. She just wants the money.
Done.
And this is that point where, I wrote down a note that and it didn't change, all sex in this movie is either silly, uncomfortable, or boring. One thing it never is erotic. Never once was I oh yeah.
I would say the one time, and not that I was analyzing it in this, but now that you mentioned that, I would say the one time that is sort of on that border is when she and Satine are together. Wouldn't you
Satine
say?
is a woman she meets at the Fox Hunt.
Correct.
I didn't find that erotic either because I found it really boring because, like...
Oh, yeah, it's boring, but I would say on the whole, it almost felt the most genuine.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, I guess when I say erotic, I meant erotic for the viewer. I'm not talking about for the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm talking about for, like, us watching it. This is supposed to be an erotic film where, like, we're like, ooh, yeah, I want to go home and sleep with my girlfriend now, or, like, my wife, or
Sure.
both of them, right?
Yeah, like a weird date movie.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s.
And what I'm saying is that none of the sex led me to be,
I agree.
turned on.
I absolutely
agree. All boring.
Yeah.
It wasn't shot well. Because I've seen erotic films where even though the characters in the movie may not be enjoying the sex, it is filmed in such a way where I'm like, ooh, hey, is it getting warm in here?
We've already settled that it is.
It is.
Yep.
But the other thing, like, that sex scene at the Fox Hunt went on for, like, 9 minutes. And
this is an hour and a half movie.
Yeah. And AJ and I got so bored that we actually started talking about, like, you know what would make this movie really interesting is if they actually murdered because the people in the Fox Hunt.
Because one of the toilet paper rolls that they were looking through was a sight.
Yeah, it was like a scope.
Actually had a scope.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, is this going to turn dark? And are they going to hunt people?
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Fascinating.
Did not happen.
Damn.
After the Fox Hunt, Nana is like, you know what? I'm done with Steiner. I'm kicking you out. Steiner's like, well, that's my house. She said, well, you put my name on it, dipshit.
Idiot.
Here's
water in your eye.
Here's water in your eye. This point, Moufant comes over and is like, I love you. I want to give you money. I will take care of you. And this is where we get that crazy scene with him where, first of all, she's dressed like a boy. And he's like, what are you doing? She's like, I want to be a boy.
He's like, that's weird.
And then she says to him, be my horse.
Yep.
And he's like, no. And she's like, just do it. So she, like, gets up on his back and makes him run around.
Takes a horsey ride from him.
Yep. And then she says,
be my doggy.
And she makes him get on his hands and knees and fetch a stick with his mouth. Now, this is a count, one of the most important men in Paris at the time.
I would assume so.
And he is doing this. And that is where I think she is learning how far she can push to manipulate men.
Yeah.
It's partially in the script. It is not in the actress.
Not
and that's why I was trying to make that distinction where, like, she didn't live up to the script. It's not that the script didn't live up to her.
Oh, no. Yeah. I just meant that it just didn't match.
Yes.
I wasn't saying the script was better or worse than hers.
Yeah. I see. I was splitting hairs with words.
Oh, I know you were, Mr. Writer. I get it. But yeah.
That's Mr. Writer to you. Oh, wait, hold on.
I did say that.
That's Dr. Writer to you.
Get out of here. Shut up. No, but so then she goes through a bunch of different affairs, essentially. I mean, and that's the slice of life type of thing where one doesn't lead to the other necessarily. I mean, there is a little contrivance later on.
No one gets really jealous. It doesn't really matter to anybody.
No, but she also at the very beginning says, hey, Hector, you and I should sleep together or something.
On your wedding day.
On your wedding day,
It'll
right?
happen on your wedding day.
See you in a bit.
Because he, by the way, I don't know if we mentioned this, Hector, the reason he went to the brothel in the first place, I thought this was clever, was so he could watch people have sex, so he would know how to do it on his wedding night.
Oh, yeah. No, that was fine motivation for that story. But also, who are we to say? The acting, maybe he's a good liar, maybe he's not.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that was true to his character. Regardless, he has an engagement, he has a fiance, and they don't come back to that for a long time.
Yeah.
And so she sleeps with Moufant, she sleeps with Satine, or Satin, as that was pronounced in the movie. Yeah. Come on.
She sleeps with a bunch of people.
She sleeps... Oh, no.
It gets to this point where...
There's a couple of racist things in this movie.
Well, yeah, so this has to be discussed because this is a major plot point. Where...
Also, there's something way earlier that's pretty racist. Oh, the magic trick.
The magic trick where Nana is white.
Yep.
She's a black bunny on her lap.
Yep. And then there's a poof of smoke, and she is replaced with a woman.
No. That was her.
No, that wasn't her.
That was her.
How did they put that on her?
It's a movie.
That's fine, but I thought that they had replaced her with another girl who was in blackface.
No, she was in head-to-toe blackface, and she was holding a white bunny.
Yep,
that happened.
And there was no explanation about it. It was just like, oh, now she's a negative.
Yeah.
You know? I get it. Because it's photography, magic, whatever.
And then later in the movie, she finds out about this man named Bijou, who is a black man who is a fighter.
Yep.
That
is for sale?
For 50,000 francs.
Yeah, francs.
And she wants him for herself.
I guess.
So she convinces Muffant to go to Steiner to
take out a loan.
For 50,000.
500,000.
Or 500,000, yes, that's right.
Huge.
500,000. And Steiner is like, oh, okay, fine. There is a bit of like a thing between Steiner and Muffant because Muffant basically took over Nana.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's like, that's fine, I'll give you the money, but you have to put up your house and everything you own as collateral. Okay, great.
Sure.
Nana, by the way, has sex with Bijou, a black man.
Behind a white horse. Is that thematic? We don't know.
But here is what was really disturbing to me is for the first time the music during sex turned really dark and ominous.
Yeah, that sucked.
And then we find out that Bijou is basically like a cockfighter, literally with talons on their fingers.
So weird. That was the most disturbing thing. First of all, because there were so many people watching it.
Yes.
That was we were just thrust into these no pun intended. We were just thrust into these scenes. And I know that that's pretty standard for movies. That you're not going to start each one with the door opening and people entering and blah blah blah. But there were some things that were given absolutely no context.
Well, some of the context was, it's not good the way it's given, because the one dude who mentions that Bijou is for sale is basically like, he's strong and we can use him in fights and people can come watch the fights and bet and we'll win money.
Yeah.
But there is no context on where that fight happens, how big that fight is, what that fight is, because when they got to the point where the fight lasted 3 rounds, the first round they put talons on their metal sharp knives on their fingers.
This was so bizarre.
Then they added the talons on the back of their heels between Bijou and this other man,
Ahmed
the Turk, right?
Yeah.
And then they added a beak and sharp like feathers,
metal feathers. Yeah.
At which point the person who is supposed to be on Nana and Bijou's side slips Bijou poison.
Right.
Bijou drinks it, and then he goes over and he gets money from Steiner.
Yeah.
Bijou is then
in wide open.
In the wide open.
Yeah. I mean, I guess bankers were also bookies.
Bookies at the
time.
In
that time.
Bijou is immediately murdered.
Right.
In the ring, is killed. Nana loses money, and then at that point, but
Nana doesn't care.
Nana doesn't care because it's Muffant who actually loses.
Exactly.
Everything.
That's the biggest thing. Is like there's never any stakes for Nana.
Yeah.
Nana.
Well, to the point.
Nana.
To the point, Nana actually says to one of the other guys in the movie, when Muffant is like, I have a wife and she cares about my money and I can't just give you all the money. Right. She says to another dude, like, hey, do me a favor.
Sleep with his wife.
Have
her as your mistress.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the dude just does. And then Muffant comes home, finds he's now lost
Listen,
everything.
It was a bohemian time.
It was a bohemian
back
time.
Then,
Well, it wasn't that bohemian
because
Muffant was pissed and they had a duel. And
which was the most beautiful shot of the movie.
Yeah, it was a beautiful shot.
When he discovers him, it was actually very funny, too.
Yes.
The editing, because Muffant is looking around for the guy who is cheating on his wife in the room, and then
cheating with his wife.
Yes. And that guy comes up behind a body form mannequin type thing, and it cuts immediately to like 6 guys down on the side of a hill. 2 of them are probably doctors, 2 of them are assistants, second mans, and there's horses, and it's a beautiful green shot of this hill, and then it switches perspectives and it shows those 2 men ready for a duel, which I loved.
Yeah, it was a beautiful shot.
That was really cool.
And then the weirdest thing, like, one would put a gun down and lift it up, the other would put the gun down and lift it up.
Yeah, I guess we would have to know the... I mean, I've listened to Hamilton enough, so I know the rules.
Yes, but I don't think...
I don't know if they were following them.
Yeah, so long story short, Buffon gets shot, and then the very next scene, Steiner is at Buffon's house and
taking
is like,
all of his stuff.
The house is mine. It's all of mine.
All your shit is.
And, like, Buffon's life... Muffon's life is entirely ruined and destroyed.
Yeah, his wife is probably leaving him.
Yeah, he's destitute, sad. He goes to
Nana.
Nana's like, "Can I live with you?" And she's like, "No, you're poor."
Yeah, weirdo.
Gross. And then immediately we cut to Hector's wedding.
No. You know what she says? She's like, "If you're gonna live here, you and I are gonna go to his wedding together." And he's like, "Oh, right. No, I can't do that. Think of the scandal. I mean, it's all fucking scandal right now."
Yeah.
The next thing is the comedic.
Yeah, the comedic wedding where Hector's there. Malek finally makes a comeback.
Yeah, he's filming the wedding.
Weird, like, goofy, filming the wedding thing.
Yep.
And then Nana shows up, flashes one breast at Hector, flashes another breast at Hector. It was the
most 1980s in an 1880s movie. Just like, there's my breasts.
Sorry, it just the noise.
Oh no, I get it.
And then immediately, like, Hector chases, the crowd's like, oh,
this is hilarious.
And it turns into this, like, really funny bit that is directly after a man whose entire life, who is in that same scene, has been destroyed. Hector hops in the thing.
They make out.
They fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like, awesome. And then immediately...
After that, they're just like, oh, where did she go?
Where did Nana go?
Oh, she's going to Italy, or
India to meditate.
Yeah, sure.
She's in a balloon. She's in a hot air balloon.
Surrounded by everyone whose lives she has ruined.
Yes. Well, here's the thing is, like, there is the one scene in the brothel that happens one more time where Steiner and Muffont have become friends again because Muffont was made finance minister.
Right.
And Steiner now needs him because he owns a bank. And, like, they even say, like, strange bedfellows or whatever it is. But we're the hot air balloon, and everyone's life, as you said, they're all
just
there, like
hey,
waving.
Goodbye.
The hot air balloon takes off.
Hot air balloon takes off. She's looking all satisfied and smiling.
Because there's a man
Then we realize that under her petticoat or whatever, there's her... who we met early on, her horse trainer or something?
Yeah.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Unclear.
None of this matters. And funny enough, you know how they say it's loosely based on this? She doesn't have a happy ending. She ends by dying of smallpox.
Of course. Well, and then that goes back to naturalism where, life just sort of ends and none of anything that happened in the movie would have led to her having smallpox. That's just a random occurrence.
Exactly.
A couple of things we should throw out. This was directed by Dan Woolman.
Okay.
Who, his other big movie is another canon film called Made in Sweden.
Oh.
Starring Christina Lundberg from Inga.
Yeah.
And Christina Lundberg was also in Thriller, They Call Her One Eye, which is a great revenge flick.
Okay.
So we'll see. And it's a softcore porn, again. And then the writer of this was Mark Beam, who wrote Charade, wrote Help, the Beatles' Help.
Oh, wow.
The movie Charade.
Yeah.
And The Return of Dr. Mabuse. But his other big writing gig was Canon Films.
Oh,
X-Ray.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then a couple of other things to point out about this movie.
Can I point something out?
Sure.
There were 8 circle wipes.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask you what you thought of what was your favorite transition in this movie.
One of those 8.
Yeah,
because there was no other than regular cuts.
They were so weird.
I don't understand the choice because you could have rather than that. Well, I think what it was instead of an establishing shot. I understand that because it went from action to action. So,
but they were terrible.
But it was bad, and
they didn't even because a lot of circle wipes will focus on someone, and they focused in on the middle of the screen every single time.
It was like they threw it into iMovie, and that was all they did.
Yeah.
It's very distracting. Also, I mean, the lesson for filmmakers out there. Put as few fade to blacks or wipes in general in your movie. If you can't get to the next scene without going to black, unless you are getting knocked out or it is changing nighttime to day or something like that, put as few in your movie as possible.
I gotta say, though, there's a few really wonderful circle wipes in
Star Wars.
Punch Drunk Love.
That's very stylistic.
But it is
the thing.
But it works.
It does.
And if they're used properly, because they fade, like they circle down on something and they circle out on another image.
Learn the rules so you can break them. But watch most movies. If you see more than 3 or 4 fade to blacks, it's not a great movie.
Or it's a television movie.
Or it is a television movie. Because it needs to go to commercial.
Because it cut to commercial. Yeah, one other thing to mention about Nana in general. There have been 10 filmed versions of this novel.
That's insane.
2001, 1999.
All right.
1981, which is this one.
No, this one's 83.
Oh, sorry, 83, 81, 1970, 1955, 1944, 1934, 1926, and going all the way back to 1914.
Jeez.
Which is crazy when you start thinking about it, because...
That's old porn.
That is... Well, you know... One of the first things that they made after the train coming at the people, they made porn.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very interesting to look at this as a slice of history, because I don't know how accurate they were. Yeah. I don't know that George Millet was actually involved in bordellos. I don't know in pornographic films either. Yeah. I think that's an interesting possibility, but it's. I mean, I
feel like that's very like we could probably look that up if we tried.
Oh, sure. But I don't know. It's just it really, this movie gets boring.
Yes, real fast, and which is weird because it's a movie. Well, I was gonna say it's a movie about sex, so it's weird that it's boring. But then again,
it's more about power than sex.
You would think.
I mean, it was intended to be, it feels like.
Sure. But they're missing all of that. Like, you know, I would love to see, like, Adrian Lyne do a version of this movie.
Okay.
Adrian Lyne would be incredible. He would capture everything about power and sexuality that would need to be in it.
Yeah. I think I understand the basis of it is naturalism, but look for those themes. Look for try to focus on some of the parts of her life and tell a story.
Yeah.
And I think I would I would be interested to see the other versions of this, because it's not there is potential of an interesting story in it. And I don't know if all of them decided to follow that.
I was actually looking up to see if Adrian Lyne actually did do a version of this, and he did not.
How funny would that be?
It would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Adrian Lyne, for those who don't know, did Unfaithful with Richard Gere and Diane Lane. He did Lolita. He did Fatal Attraction. He did 9.5 Weeks. And then he also did Jacob Slatter, Indecent Proposal, and Flashdance. But a lot of those are like sex dramas.
Yeah.
And did you ever see Unfaithful?
I believe so.
Unfaithful was kind of a masterpiece in that it was all about like power and sex and who was in charge because of that. It was interesting.
Kind of a cat and mouse game.
Yeah. And Lolita, by the way, when I say Lolita, it's the 97 Lolita with Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
It's not the Stanley Kubrick Lolita with Peter Sellers.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so we should get down to business of what is canon.
Canon, can I call boobies?
Yeah, well, it's really funny because I wrote boobs. Yeah. Because that is very canon.
I mean, if you are going to make a canon film, you know what is going to get you a bonus? Boobs. And they must have gotten it many times over.
Let's maybe not put that in our canon film, but...
that's not necessary.
At least, yeah.
Not gratuitously. If it calls for it...
Sure.
Our hands were tied by the script.
Yes.
We had to.
We're writing the scripts.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything else that you think is canon?
I would say the odd transitions. I think I think circle wipes are honestly something that I've seen. If not,
Malcolm Golan was obsessed.
He was sitting in the editing room. I'm sure he did not see an editing room.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
All right.
But he watched them and was like, just wrote a note like, circle wipe.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything else.
I have a couple.
Anachronisms. I mean, I don't know if there was any, but hey, let's shoot in Italy if we can.
Seriously.
I don't care where our thing takes place.
Just shoot in Italy.
Just shooting in Italy. Looks beautiful.
Yeah. A couple of things that I would throw into the canon, specifically stuff I'd want to steal.
Yeah.
Nana watching the money fall to the ground, I thought there was like a great image there.
Yes.
Especially juxtaposed with the line of, if a man wants you, make him pay, make him give you your soul, give you his soul, which I thought was like, it was specifically the soul line where I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that's dark. That's like, you have the power to not just take physical things from him.
You could take everything.
You take everything. You can have him take his life. There's
pride.
It's fascinating in the novel. She makes people like kill themselves for her. One guy incinerates himself. One guy stabs himself with scissors. It's crazy. Like,
see, that's the movie I want to watch.
Exactly.
Because one of the other things I'd like to throw in the canon, like to steal, is like when we get to that fox hunt thing.
Yeah.
I really would have loved to have seen what would happen if, like, I mean, it's probably a little over the edge, but like, what if those people were murdered? And I think that's exactly what it is. Is like, I wanted that. See her, like, what would happen if she made people do violence?
You want to see the midway point between this and the Libertine.
Johnny Depp movie?
The Johnny Depp movie.
I've not seen
You never seen that?
No.
It's pretty dark. I mean, I think he dies of syphilis, but it's a very dark, sex-driven thing. I haven't seen that in a long time, but it just came to me. It was like, that's kind of the sort of culture that it was commenting on, but I think I'd want to see something right in the middle, right down the middle, not the so dark that it's
not Marquis de Sade.
De Sade, right? I want to see something that's just like, it shows the reality of it, but doesn't make me depressed at the end of the movie.
Yeah, Well, I would love to see her that power. Yeah,
yes,
whatever
exactly.
that is,
exactly.
And I think the shot at the duel was great. I would love to steal that.
Yeah, again, I love that too. Yeah.
Circle wipes, steal that. I said that just for you. And then the other thing that this felt truly canon.
Yes.
Is that whole like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to just loosely base this on the novel.
Oh sure.
And then just do whatever's fun. I'm just going to do what I want. Yeah. But I think this movie was missing the darkness. That would have really helped it get to the place it needed to be.
I also would have liked to see, because like when I said before that the only emotion or erotic feeling that I got was from her and Satine.
Yeah. Two women. Okay, keep going.
Two women. Not to say that that's my preference or anything. Yeah. Whatever. Shut up. No, what I'm saying is it would have been fascinating to understand the different dynamics that she had in the relationships. Like, she's using the men, but when she comes in contact with a woman, she's like, ooh, an equal partner, rather than a person who I can steal the soul of.
Well,
I don't know.
Also,
I don't know. I think it's interesting.
We didn't mention the one man in the beginning who she was like, he's cute, who was just like a poor boy who...
Yeah, her trainer, right?
No.
Her horse trainer?
No.
Okay.
Before that, what was his name? Like George, the Eastern European-looking dude.
Oh, maybe.
With like the dark brows, who brought the hot water when she was taking the bath.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, he's really cute.
Yep.
I got the sense that she was being honest. Mm-hmm. She doesn't mention any other man's looks in the entire movie.
Agreed.
But the one person that she sort of goes back to is the trainer. Yeah. Like the horse trainer.
Who was, again, a very menial...
And who is the person that she brings with her?
That guy. Because he doesn't have anything that she can take from him.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Other than the soul.
I was actually going to say is perhaps he is the one that she actually enjoys like sex with and enjoys as a human. And for him, it's not like for him and her, it's not about what she can get.
Oh, absolutely not.
Which is, in some ways, I actually think in some ways she got something from Satine. Oh, or we were supposed to understand that she got something from Satine.
I suppose. Yeah.
Because Satine was wealthy.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So maybe that's why she said that she wanted to be a boy, because she was like, I can play anybody.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, also as a boy, she's not... It was very clear that women's worth in this movie was only about sex.
Oh, yeah.
And her entire worth in this movie was reduced down to boobs and vagina and face. Like, literally nothing else. Whereas men did not have that stigma attached to them.
No, they could be powerful because of their status, of their station in life.
Maybe that's part of it. It just wasn't well written.
No, it wasn't.
And it could have been well written, it just wasn't well put together.
Exactly.
I have a feeling that there is a version of this movie that is like 2.5 hours long, or like 2 hours and 10 minutes, that delves into that stuff.
Yeah.
That Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus were like, cut it.
Yep. Just get to the next sex scene. Come on. Yeah. No, I agree.
I give them a lot of shit for that because
it seems true.
Yeah. And maybe all of their movies just didn't have that connective tissue.
Maybe not.
But I feel like that connective tissue had to be there in the script.
Yeah.
And then they found it boring watching it, and they got rid of it. Because another thing that I know about Golan and Globus, specifically Menachem, was that he wanted all movies to be 90 minutes or less. He did not want them to hit 2 hours.
Yep. This hit at 1:32.
Yep.
So.
And I'm assuming there was a 2-hour version.
Yeah.
And he just was like, we won't get enough screen time.
I'm bored. Yeah.
Well, it was also about if you have a movie that's 90 minutes, you get 6 showings versus 5 showings.
Even
at 2
without
hours.
Seeing it, he probably said cut it down.
That's exactly right.
Oh yeah.
So, would you recommend this movie?
For a stag party, maybe, honestly, like, no, because the story isn't there, and it's not beautiful enough, it's not, like, visually arresting enough, or creative enough to really...
I feel like we took the bullet for people on this one.
I think we did, yeah.
I would love to see the 2-hour version of this movie.
Sure.
I would love to see the Adrian Lyne version of this movie.
I would also like to see a non-Katya Berger version of this movie. Because it's fine, she did fine, but I think the voice actress did better than she did in conveying the voice. You
said that like when I am talking to my significant other and the response is, it's fine. I know it's not fine. That's the way you said that about her acting.
It's fine. It's
fine.
No, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
I will say.
All right.
Yep.
Well, all right, AJ, what are we doing next time? Well, next time...
Whoa, Nick. Don't you take my one skill of being able to interview you about what's going on next time.
That's a skill for you?
That's my feature.
Do you put that on your resume?
Yeah. Hey, I ask Nick what's next time on Creating Canon. And that's what I'm doing right now. Nick, what's next time on Creating Canon?
Well, we are going to watch a movie that, quite honestly, it's one of those films that has a long history and a long pedigree.
Oh, neat.
There are many names associated with the main character of this film.
Oh.
Everyone from Anthony Hopkins to James Earl Jones to Lawrence Fishburne, Laurence Olivier, Mekhi Phifer, Patrick Stewart, Orson Welles, Johnny Boyega, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Raul Julia.
Wow.
Richard Burton. Richard Burbage.
What?
Yes.
What character could possibly have all these people embodied?
Well, that character would be Othello.
Oh.
Just a little disturbing because like half that list was white.
That's very true.
But we're just going to move past that.
Okay.
Because we are doing a version of Othello starring Max Henri Beaulieu.
Wow, I don't even know what you just said.
Yep. And that would be Othello, the Black Commando from 1982. It's an update on, Shakespeare's Othello.
The classic.
The classic.
All right.
So I hope this is a classic.
Yep.
And not an ASIC.
We never know until we get into it.
We never know until we watch it.
Okay. Well, next time.
Next time.
Fantastic. All right, Nick, that was fantastic. I'm so excited for that movie. And do you think that'll cut together well?
No, not at all.
Okay, that's fine. I'm keeping this in. Nick, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas C. Pappas, and you can check me out at nicholascpappas.com.
All right.
One of these days, I'll get to updating my website, and it'll be fucking rad.
I believe in you. Under construction, no more. I am at the AJ Hamilton and theajhamilton.com, and you can follow us at Creating Canon. That's CANNON. And you can email us creatingcanon@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Subscribe, like, rate, do all the things on the YouTubes and the Spotifys and the Apple Podcasts or whatever the hell. I don't know. There's so much things.
Yeah. Like it helps us in something.
Absolutely helps us. So if you want to help us out, if we've given you any bit of enjoyment, please help us out by telling us how we did. And we will see you next time. And as we always say, Nicholas, good night and good cannon.
Na 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 na.
Go and sleep with some guys. Na 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 na.
Here's the plot. Ready?
All right.
I don't know if I can look at you while I say it. Okay. You know what they say? Tits out, grits out.
I haven't spent much time in the South, so I don't know much about grits.
Thanks, Podcast Daddy. Pod Daddy.
Thanks, Podcast Daddy. The crazy person is like, what's up with these people? This is weird. Got mud on your face.
Big disgrace. Nana's gonna put you back into your place. Man, my voice is not great.
No, it's fine. I'll auto-tune you.
Nana just killed a man. Put a cockfight in the ring. The other man made him feel his sting. Oh, Nana.
Cut, print. That's a wrap. Ugh, amazing.